right, the future mayor of Otsibarongopke, Tateka Lux, Okwati, Neba, Nauba. Morning, guys. Welcome back, Neville Moram area. Welcome to the Monday morning edition of the Morning Mix.
Morning.
More. How was the weekend?
Busy. Work.
Yeah.
I like Maria.
Oh, thank you. No. You forget that we are on the radio. You like what? You need to use your words, my brother.
Luister, die mense wat radio luister, can they start streaming? Ek is ook moeg nog.
People are driving
Nee,
their
ek stel nie
cars.
belang nie. Yeah. Maria, she's got a official new hairstyle this morning.
Cornrows.
I wanted him to say what it's called.
Braiding.
Braiding. It's called braiding.
What is it? What are they called? What is that hairstyle
Ken
called?
dit vleg?
It's just cornrows.
Sconroos.
Cornrows. Like, corn was
Oh,
planted.
yes, corn.
Yeah, so it's
Rows.
slaves, yes.
Oh, ek ken dit karatoura vleg. Yeah.
Pushback. All right, guys, let's also say good morning to Fabian, who joins us in the studio this morning. Good morning, Sergeant.
A warm morning, and thank you for having me.
Yes, it's always a great pleasure to have you here. Well, since we only have you for a limited time, let's get into it. The main reason why we wanted you here, especially on this Monday morning, is we are approaching the festive season, and I understand, of course, there has been a lot of stolen goods that have been recovered by the Namibian City Police. And that you guys are urging that the public come check through and come pick up whatever belongs to them.
Absolutely, and well said. Normally when we have our roadblocks, if we come across suspicious items that the owner cannot account for, we take this item and we keep them at our offices. Anyone that feel that maybe they have lost, within that window period, they have lost maybe laptops or gadgets, then they are at liberty to come and identify those items. And there are also situations where you find odd hours, someone is saving items either in their cars or they are moving. Why would you move at odd hours? Rather, during broad daylight, if you are moving from one apartment to another or in another house, why should you do it at 2 o'clock early morning hours? Already that raises suspiciousness. What we normally do, we'll ask for documentations. If you cannot finish those documentation, we are going to take your items temporarily at our storerooms until you can finish those proof of ownership. Yes, sir.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes, you are in class.
Yeah. Okay, comrade. In my culture, okay, and I've been doing this now for quite a number of years when I move. There's this tradition in Karatura that if you move during the day, people see that you move and then they become very jealous and envious of what you have when they see your possessions. So for a number of years in Karatura, people have a culture of moving when it's dark, so you don't see what my possessions are. So these people are moving like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, fair enough, as long as you can prove that those items are yours.
Okay.
In the absence of that, that's when we come in.
Okay.
Okay, now I wanna ask, because there are some situations where you have, let's say for instance, the TV or whatever that you've had for a while, and you may not necessarily have the receipts and so on. And then what happens in a situation like that?
Normally where you buy your flat screen or your gadgets, especially if it's a TV, they always keep your information in their database. I bought a flat screen about 5 years back, but if they enter your ID number or your even your name, they will be able to trace back the transaction that you have done with them.
Okay.
And where you bought it long time and there's no that proof, obviously there will be something like maybe a picture that was taken 5 years ago with your TV in the background,
a selfie,
or there's somebody that can attest, because we do preliminary investigation.
Yes.
Where we'll ask everybody that is connected to your family chain or roots, and somebody will obviously attest and say, yes, it does have a TV like this and so forth. So in the absence of that, that's where we will take that item. And when we take it, it doesn't mean it's going to be forfeited to the state. Only after a prolonged time, maybe after a year or so, and nobody came forth, then we book it in with NAMPOL, and NAMPOL they will forfeit it. They do auctions where people can come in and buy it. The new receipt will be issued to that effect. And it's the same procedure that happens with vehicles. If a vehicle is impounded in our possessions for a certain number of years, there will come a point where it will be put on auction.
And then like that, it's gone.
And like that, it's gone.
So if I see somebody else driving my car in the street here, I cannot go ask them. It's like, hey.
Because most of the vehicle that we impound, they were used in criminal activities, or maybe somebody is under the influence of alcohol. They decide to dodge. They abandon their vehicle, and years are just going after years, and they are not coming to get their vehicles. So those are the different various scenarios that we are having.
Okay, so where do the public do they come to the city police offices if they want to come claim some of this lost property?
A while back, I think about 2 weeks ago, I did an advert, or rather, I communicated on various platforms that we are having several laptops, and public members can just come to City Police Head Office to view those laptops. But generally, we are not the custodian of these items, as we just keep them for a short period. And then after that, if nobody comes forth, we book them at Wanainda Police Station, where they have a big storeroom. If maybe your items, you have unique identification on them, or you know the password, or you are able to tell that this is yours through proof of ownership, you can just go in that storeroom and then you see which item do you think might be yours.
All right. Neville, any stolen property you need to recover?
No. I think for now I'm fine. But Fabian, for instance, the issue with the abandoned cars, do you guys have a lot of those incidents where you guys are manning a roadblock and you see somebody from far jumping out of their car and run away? Do you have many instances?
Yeah, they
like
do.
That?
A lot.
Is that so?
Yeah, they do, because they always weigh their options. Like, for example, it's going to be many account. There will be count for being under the influence of alcohol that I will be charged on. There will be count for reckless driving. So at the end of the day, because they know, if you cannot tie me to the vehicle if I run away, there are different excuses. That's why, especially if they know that maybe there's fatalities, and the person is totally, the alcohol reading is beyond this world, definitely the person will run away. Some are running for that purpose. And so, because later, even if you get hold of them, they might be sober. Then they know that they won't be charged on the count of being under the influence.
I understand.
Okay, so before we let you go, just an update on from the weekend and maybe some of the news that we should expect for this week.
The weekend there was numerous activities in terms of rallies that were happening. Especially in Katutura, there was congestions, there was a lot of movement. However, there was no one single incident that was reported of crashes between various supporters. Everything was well contained. So I think the weekend was relatively good. But however, there were some cases of assault, but not linked to rallies. Just opportunity that is created. Youngsters that will go out partying, have fun, and at the end of the day, they are working at isolated places, and attention is all focused in their gadgets. Somebody assaults them. We have those type of situations. Because I always tell people that if you know you don't own a vehicle and you are going to party until late, at least make provision for somebody to get you. Alternative, if you cannot, be the first one to leave the event, because as much as we say Namibia got independence, the reality is if you create an opportunity, you will be assaulted. So that's the message that we want to inculcate. And this week that is coming, we are going to be all over in terms of making sure that there's orderly queues, and there's no issues of assault, there's no issues of somebody suppressing their opinion in a physical way onto others. So we are going to be there, and we have already set up an operational orders, and as a matter of fact, it's a tall order that all of us are going to be on duty just to make sure that it's a smooth sailing process.
All right, Fabian, thank you very much for joining us. Unless there's something else that you would like to share, I think we have to let you go now.
All I can say is that don't forget our magic numbers, 061 302 302. Alternatively,
302 302.
Correct, yes. Plus our SMS line number 4444. And I always tell people that wear this like a necklace around your neck. You know, that's how you should remember it. Because when you need it the most is when you need to know it on top of your head.
Fabian, we got 2 minutes to go. Just the incident that happened last week, or I think it's probably the week before, of the cyclist that got bumped on the Western bypass. Tell me quickly, because people were a little bit confused because they first thought it was a taxi, and then it came to light that it was a black Mercedes-Benz, where you also had the owner that basically ran away. So can you confirm that this man has been arrested?
Yeah, the man has been arrested, and as a matter of fact, is behind bar.
Okay.
What people don't understand is the moment an accident happened where somebody's bumped, everybody that is within that perimeter, in the immediate, who's affected immediately, maybe you are behind the person who bumped the pedestrian. You are not supposed to drive away. You're supposed to be there and give what you have witnessed.
A statement.
So the mistake here, where the taxi driver did, he drove off. So at the end of the day, where do you expect the officer to get that information? So through our means of intelligence-led policing, the use of CCTV technology, that's how we managed to pick up that there was a particular driver using a taxi driver that was also in part of the chain reaction, and then he drove off. So after we traced him down, then he complied, and then he told us that indeed it was the driver of the Mercedes. And then because our people, what they don't understand, all the plate numbers, they are put on we have a database where your residential address, your work address, all your information is there. It's easy for us to track you down. So after he told us all those information of the plate number and the description of the vehicle, we managed to get hold of the driver of that vehicle. And this was really unnecessary because now he's facing other counts of charges which he could have easily prevented.
Yeah. All right. Before you go, there's a question here for you. I think that's the last one. Moro Crew, Sergeant Fabian, can one be arrested in Windhoek for having a warrant of arrest in Swakop? I am asking for a friend.
Good question. Good question.
Yes.
What normally happens, we only focus on city police warrant of arrest. However, there are times where we have joint operation where you'll find NAMPOL officials or officers are stationed at our head office. So when a person comes in, we are also dealing with them. So now and then we do have a joint operation where you can be arrested, where we are checking both for NAMPOL traffic fines as well as fines for residents of Windhoek. But last but not least, I should mention that our aim is not to give fine. Like recently, the week that was, our chief was emphasizing that if somebody is having malaria and you keep giving him doses of Cololin or whatever to stop malaria, at the end of the day, the person becomes immune to that. So if every time we are just giving ticket, because since the dawn of time, we've been giving ticket, but behavior is not changing. So we are taking the approach of voluntary compliance. The weeks that is coming, we are going to be in the field just educating the public on the importance of complying. Otherwise, fine. You'll be giving person even fine up to 20,000, but only when you are visible, they will comply. The moment they see their shift is over, they are withdrawing from CBD, then the same public chaos will start again. So we want to move away from that. Right. That's why we are Windhoek City Police Service as opposed to Windhoek City Police Force. We are a service. And in a service, there should be a high degree of public participation and public voluntary compliance, because there is a reason why people behave in certain way. For example, you might say people are skipping red traffic light, but why are they? Maybe the engineering of the lights, maybe they change quickly.
Yeah.
That's why a person, you find 6 or 4 vehicles, when the light is red, they are also trying to squeeze in. We have to look at also on their side, why is this behavior persistent? Why is it going in this way? Maybe there is something that we can do.
Okay. All right. Fabian, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We are approaching the festive season. I think we will have you in maybe once more.
Yeah.
Before we go on holidays.
Yeah.
So enjoy the rest of the Monday. Thank you once again.
Maybe not the coming Monday. Maybe what we can, let's see. But we'll be in contact with Fabian.
Yeah.
Because, we got 2 more weeks to go before we shut down.
This is the last Monday, the second last Monday.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. You've been a good team, and thank you for playing your part to fight crime elements that are happening all over.
Anytime. Fabian, please remember, if you stop me at a roadblock, I'm also helping you guys.
I will simply say you look familiar.
All right, that is that.
Thanks,
Thank you, Fabian. We keep it moving with the morning mix for this morning.
You have to take your coffee out.
It's uncharacteristically quiet this morning.
Very, very quiet.
Sometimes I don't have anything to say.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm sure now you have some stuff to say.
No, I might still not have anything to say.
All right, guys, we did have a really crazy weekend, like Fabian was saying. Apart from just the rallies that were taking place all over the country, of course, it is the final push for all the guys who are contesting the presidency and, of course, some seats in the National Assembly in Wednesday's election.
If we go to the polls.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, let's start there.
I just for anybody's interest, today there's going to be a ruling.
Hold on. Yeah. This one.
The morning mix.
Wow.
I played the wrong thing. I wanted to play this one.
Oh, wow.
Because you know what?
You don't stay awake.
I'm sitting here, because the energy or the lack of energy that Maria sits here next to me with, I'm like, is she ever going to talk to us here? Because
I'm tired.
Blue Monday is normally affecting me and
Yeah,
you.
no, I'm just.
Monday
I told you I was working. I mean, I worked from Friday all the way to Sunday, so I'm tired. Anyway,
you look more irritated than tired.
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
I'm just tired.
Okay, cool.
No, I was just saying,
Okay,
for
here we
anybody, the tribunal is going to make a ruling today on whether or not elections will go forth on Wednesday or not. As we all know by now, independent candidate Dr. Itula had submitted court documents, and I think to the tribunal he wanted some testing, I believe, ICT people to test the machines to see that they can't, independent ICT people to make sure that they can't be tampered with, and for that reason perhaps possibly postpone the elections. We'll find out today. I think the ruling is starting at 9 o'clock. We will obviously, as Informanté, be informing you as we get the news. But I think that's the big thing today.
The big thing that is happening today. And also something kind of crazy that happened over the weekend. The ACC sort of botched the arrest of our former Minister of Fisheries, Mr. Bernard Esau.
And Ricardo Gustavo, yeah.
Yes, I understand there are warrants of arrest for all of the guys out as well. And 2 of them, I believe, were out of the country, who are flying in today.
I think 3 of them.
Oh, 2 or 3
of them. And yeah, that's the other thing. I think there was a lot of disappointment with the fact that ACC seemed to have botched this warrant of arrest. I personally believe they were just rushing to make those arrests based on public pressure, which is not always a good thing to do. Understandably, you need to consult, and I think the PG's office is better equipped for those warrants than the ACC is, and we know this now because there was a charge of corruption on the warrant of arrest, but it didn't even give the section. And then eventually they're talking about money laundering, which is not their jurisdiction. So it was just a mess. But I'm now just curious because I was reading one of the dailies today, and the ACC boss, Mr. Paulus No, was saying that the other warrants of arrest for Ricardo, who's already behind bars, for James Hatwekulipi, Saki Shangala, and Fiti Hatwekulipi, and a certain Pius, who is a cousin, he says those are still valid.
They're valid.
Oh, they're valid.
They're valid. So I am also a little bit confused, because if you made that one mistake on the one, did you then go and amend and rectify the others, or was it just for the minister that you made a mistake? That's not really clear to me. I'm curious to know how one was invalid but the others are valid.
Maybe they didn't charge all of them with the same crimes. Maybe.
Yeah, it's possible, because I think with the minister they charged him for, I think they said between 2012 and 2014. We now know with Ricardo he came in afterwards. I think from 2014 it was that Namagar agreement between Angola and whatever he was. So he came in afterwards. I don't know what the charges for the rest look like. Yeah, so it's possible that they have different charges, and that one is where they botched. But I understand. I think I read also in one of the dailies that they are arriving today from Cape Town. My understanding is I suspect. Let me rather say, I suspect they'll go straight to their lawyers, so that when they hand themselves over, they've
already consulted.
They've already consulted and they are represented.
What time are they arriving, Maria? Do you
Hoe
have?
sal ek weet?
Nee,
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure if you either look at what are the two flights that is either South African Airways or Namibian Airways. You look at the scheduled flights and then we probably have 4 options and it will be one of those 4 slots.
Maria, asseblief. We want to know what time we need to go to the airport.
Wat wil julle by die airport gaan maak?
Nee, ons wil net. They must
I think they'll most likely come use the morning flights. I don't know what airline. I don't know times, obviously, but I'm suspecting that they'll probably come with morning flights, with a morning flight, and immediately go to consult.
I think maybe Saki is going to make a couple of turns before he goes to the lawyer. You know, he's been promising he's going to beat people up. So Jalaba the nonsense part.
What did he promise?
Today is the day. Leave me alone.
But I saw that thing, but I was just thinking, maybe it's just one of this fake news.
Of course, it's
fake news
social
items
media
again.
memes and stuff.
Yeah.
There's this picture of Saki looking at the camera like this.
I will beat people
I will
up.
beat people up, and I have names of other ministers that I will also implicate and blah blah blah. It's just.
I know.
fake
I
news
mean, I know Saki personally for a few years, and he's not really one to threaten violence.
No,
it's not his nature.
It's like if even if you just see him in sort of the public arena, you can see he's not really.
He's more a dust it off and try again type of guy than he's not like a job where he's like, let's go in the ring and settle this.
Let's make that money.
I mean, he concentrated on verbosity and
the rah-rah.
Daar begin julle weer.
Hey, say net.
Ons sal kom geslaan word.
So I think on the news front, I think that will be the other probably where the media's focus will also be, knowing that there's going to be their arrival today and anticipating what's going to happen. Are they going to be locked up? Are they just going to, present themselves with the legal representation and immediately go to court and try to get bail? But I think that on the other front, that will be the other big story today.
The one I actually want us to speculate on a little bit, Neville, Faralche, is the possible postponement of elections. Possible. But, what is the case to be made for us forcing ahead with the elections, and what's the case to be made for sort of postponing and waiting until, I guess, things are sorted out one way or the other?
I personally don't think this is going to happen. Yes, of course, the so-called urgent application has been done. That was done. I think, obviously, if an application like that is done, obviously, the law needs to take its course.
Yeah.
It has to be considered, but there's no way at this 11th hour that the election will be postponed for such an application. I personally don't think so. I do feel that the election will go ahead on Wednesday morning, unabated. we will be using the EVMs. I also think that this application should have been done months ago, because we knew months ago that EVMs will be used. So I think it's a little bit.
In fairness, it was always we're not sure. We haven't settled one way or the other. I think that was the word from ECN. But in any case, continue.
But I think it's a little bit too late for I believe the independent candidate to come with such an application and think they're going to be successful in this. So I just think, with all due respect, let the election takes its course, and let's see what the outcome is by Friday. That's it.
I don't think it will be postponed, but I strongly believe it should. I genuinely believe that the ruling today should be that they're going to do everything possible to ease the minds of the people, the electorate, that believe they can be tampering. I think even if it's proven that there's nothing wrong, rather go in with clear mindset that these machines can't be tampered with.
Yeah.
The danger in proceeding with election when a large number of people, and I say large, I don't know if they're in the majority. I wouldn't necessarily say they're in the majority. I don't know. We haven't done numbers. But it's definitely a large percentage of people believing that these machines can be tampered with, that doesn't matter how you vote, SWAPO is going to get to those votes. The danger in all of that is that you are possibly opening yourself up to unrest after elections in the event that the ruling party and its candidate wins. There's going to be unrest. And I think the best thing to do to avoid that is to just put systems in place, postpone the elections. It's literally one day. Let people continue with their work on Friday, set another date. But then
postpone it for how long?
No, even if it's a month, how long does it take for ICT people to look at a thing? You can do that immediately. What I'm saying is it can even be done like in early January, right after New Year's. You set a date aside, because you need to remember that the next person steps in March. So there would still be some time. But what I'm saying is, my fear is that there's a certain danger about pushing forward with elections when there is, and I'm not saying that the things can't even be tampered with. It's just the fact that that's still in the mind of a lot of people. That is,
they need to ease
you need to ease the electorate, and you can only really do that by saying, you know what, okay, we're just going to do everything that's required. Like, let's make sure that nothing can be rigged, that these machines are fine, and everybody is happy. You can't make everybody happy, but at least majority of people are satisfied with this process, and let's move forward.
But now you run the risk of also running into other problems, especially with the guys who have been campaigning for the past month or 2 months or 3 months or whatever.
Yeah, but you need to remember that the only party I seem to understand that is satisfied with the EVM as of now is SWAPO. I listen to all these talk shows, and people, all these opposition leaders are coming on, and they didn't take it to court, but they definitely have their reservations about the EVMs. So I'm sure even they will be happy to just ease their minds and make sure that that this thing is straight.
But like, remember, because your electorate now, some of them will be like, Now, you see, I was already planning to come vote this weekend. Now we have to go back to the farm and yada, 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 yada. I mean, I'm not coming back for this
That's
nonsense,
the risk,
That's the risk. And some of these guys have obviously emptied their coffers running around campaigning, and now you have like an extra month and a half where you still have to continue to keep your supporter interested in the election.
Well, then you have a problem if you can't keep your supporters interested in a month.
The money is finished.
You don't have to run more campaigns. It's just like I said, that it's just that process that needs to take place. I'm not saying I'm putting money where Neville's putting it, that most likely the elections will go forward on Wednesday. Yeah, I'm just saying that in all, for me, my concern is if it does go forward, and perhaps they should look at that.
But I'm also just thinking, once again, we're talking about this ICT process that needs to take place. Why is the ICT process only kicking in now? The opposition parties who also complained, but obviously did not lodge a formal complaint. I personally do think that all of this is happening on the threshold of these elections. So, I mean, this is all, in my view, this is just stalling for me. There's a lot of stalling for me here. You guys should have done your homework months.
But to what
ago.
end, though? Stall to what end?
Yeah,
Who does it benefit?
Exactly.
The stalling.
Yeah, who does it benefit? Exactly.
No, he wants you to answer because you are the one suspecting a stalling.
No, all I'm just saying is that this is just my speculation, because once again, if you are you setting yourself up to have sort of not just an agenda, but okay, this is why we lost the elections. Okay, do you pre-plan already exactly what the excuses will be if we should be losing these elections?
Look,
why was this things not? I mean, I'm just asking.
That can be the case, but then there are some concerns which are truly valid,
I understand.
especially as far as the machines go.
I understand. My question is why? I mean, for me, sitting here as a voter, I remember when I registered again a few months ago, I didn't hear so much of these things back then. I hear this prominently now. Why is this so prominently mentioned now? Why is this court application only coming up now? That's my issue.
I understand you completely. I mean, if somebody was or I mean, whoever knew that they were going to contest these elections, I'm sure they knew we were going to vote with EVMs from like for the past 2-3 years. So maybe it's something that should have been sorted out a long time ago.
A long time.
But irregardless, if it is an issue for somebody, I still think it needs to be addressed. We not just brush it off as what did you say, stalling?
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, Neville saying, they want to use it as an excuse if they lose. If we know that that's going to be the excuse, then why not just test the damn things? So sorry, am I allowed to say damn? Anyway, just test the things so that there is no excuse. So that if you do lose, in the event that you lose, it's fair and square. Because then you can't say, well, it's been tampered with. So there is a way to mitigate. But apart from all of that, it's also not correct that this EVM complaints are only coming up now. They actually came up also at the previous election. It's just, as always, we're seeing the opposition parties that had a problem with it did not take it up with the courts. Again.
So they are reactive.
Oh, well, whatever you want to call them. I'm just saying that the EVM problem, because they always wanted a paper trail to go with the EVMs. Yeah. So those complaints were already made at the previous election. Of course, not as prominently, because in this election, obviously we see that Dr. Etola is the one that's driving it, and he's quite determined. So that's why we're seeing more of it, but it's not a new thing. And you are very correct in saying, well, why is this lodged at the 11th hour? We did discuss it last time. And we did have Mr. Muyoro here, just to remind our listeners that perhaps didn't tune in or that have forgotten. Mr. Muyoro said they did call them to test. They were saying, you're not going to plug in things, but we'll take you to a storeroom, pick any machine you want, vote how you want, and let's see if there's any tampering or any issues. They were called, and I understand he said himself that people didn't show up because they wanted to be able to bring their IT guys and plug things in and whatever. He's saying, no, we're not plugging anything in.
You want to come tamper with the machines?
Yeah, that's tampering. We're not doing that. We're just going to see if they are tampered with, All
right, let me check out some comments. I don't have my glasses on me this morning, so just bear with me. Jan Jane. Is it Jan or is it Jan?
It's near. It's Muyoroni, Mujoroni.
Okay, I get you. The machines are like calculators. No software, no network. How can it be tampered with? Political parties know better, and they want to try everything to confuse the process and create a fodder for the illegitimacy claim in the aftermath of the elections. I guess that's the point that some of us, that kind of was made here. Let's postpone to 14 February on the anniversary of Mr. President. That's Lady Fatima Nakale.
Why could you just not just say Valentine's Day?
No, it's the day they got married. It's his anniversary.
I know.
Lupin Dilimeke Gavas. I honestly think this fish rod story will die down soon, and we will all just move on like all the other issues where millions were involved. Edward Panduleni Julius, let the ECN postpone the election and sort out the mess. Let all stakeholders be satisfied with the process, though in life you cannot satisfy everybody. Yes, sister, go ahead. Okay, I don't know what sister did. Popieni Shikongo, I wish all of this happening at the moment could have happened in August or so. Everything would have been done in a proper way and enough time from the EVMs to the fish rod. Right? Postponing the elections and checking all machines will be the best for the whole of the country. I concur with Maria on the EVM story. Norbert Claudia van Beek says, just shows how big corruption in Namibia is, and not even getting shy for what has been done in our country's economy. Agree with you, my sister. That's Koksida Konja. Matthias Mkshon. That does not make sense. Guys, do you think this case of fish rot implicating high-ranking officers will proceed after election? What do you think?
Yeah, it will proceed.
I agree. Neville, are you hoping it goes away?
No, I don't. Excuse me. No, I think we need to have a little bit more trust in our judiciary, our judicial system and process. There's due process at the moment. Obviously, I think what people are also saying is that this is not just a national case. This is a global case.
It's international corruption.
It's international corruption. So we'll see. I think locally the Anti-Corruption Commission is also under a huge spotlight at this moment in time. Obviously, what happened again over the weekend with the arrest of the former minister, and then that being overturned by the judge. So the credibility of the ACC is highly at stake here at the moment. So we'll follow suit. We'll follow it and see what happens.
Biza Black had high hopes for Saki, such a smart guy. We all did. Victor Hernandez, they won't consult their lawyers. A warrant of arrest is at the airport. They will go straight to custody. So that's how it works. I'm very disappointed, but we hope they will rectify the warrant of arrest to make it valid. Johannes Wilbart, when is Black Friday, guys?
This Friday.
It's on Friday. Norbert, that's good if those warrant of arrest are still valid. And Hilma Ndiliputate. Morning. Why you too quiet this Blue Monday is really Mboli.
I'm assuming that's for me.
Yes. All right, and just a couple of good mornings, and of course some messages of endearment for Constable Fabian, who's already left the building. I see there's a couple of new ones here. So Swapo campaign was sponsored by them as well.
I think the fish rot is talking about.
Okay.
I cry for you, Namibia. They got 1.5 million. Fish rot documentary of last night. Conja, every EVM needs to. Every EVM needs to be tested since some machines were stolen and we don't know what they did to them.
No, nothing was stolen.
Yeah, they might be tempted and or tempered, I guess, and reserved somewhere and distributed to different polling stations during elections. I don't trust ECN.
Yeah, I understand. Just to clarify on that, nothing was stolen. We got the falling of the trailer story, but those machines are not part of the machines that are going to be used.
Falling of Saki's trailer. Let's be specific.
Yeah.
Right, Norsa Toivo Kabapilo. The nation should be prepared to have a second voting of the presidential candidate, since the Constitution states that the candidate should have 50% of the total votes. I think 50 plus 1. IPPR stated that the two top candidates can have a rerun.
Yeah, if the votes are, let's say if one came up with, let's say just 49 and the other said had 38 and the rest went to the opposition, that's, you would have to go for.
You would have to have a rerun.
You would have to have a rerun.
Yes, guys, I don't
it has
think
to be
I
a
can go
convincing
through
win.
I don't think I can go through this process again after the elections now. But like for the next year, we also have elections, by the way. The local government, what do they call it? Kiki, some of both of you.
I didn't yawn. Maria was yawning.
I'm starting to feel like I'm 80. And like the prospects of life ahead of me is just like 10 or 20 years at the most.
I just think, Maria, before you got into the studio, just after 7, when we were discussing it here in the studio, and we said, you know what? I watched some of the footage, the video footage being shared on social media, whether it's at the Swapo Party Star Rally on Saturday. I've seen a few footage of Dr. Itula's rallies up in the north, etc., etc. And phew, both of them look equally packed. But
Not equally, no.
But, you know, I don't know, obviously from different angles that these videos are taken, it did look extremely packed for me. All I'm just saying is that, and this is what we said this morning, especially the supporters of Dr. Itula, how many of these supporters are registered voters?
How many of the Swapo supporters are registered voters?
Okay.
You can make that
Yeah,
case for every party.
yeah.
Even that.
I don't like that. I don't like that narrative, and I've seen it used so many times. And the only reason I don't like it, how many voters are what? And I'm like, what about the ruling party? We also see a lot of kids at those at those rallies. A lot of kids that we know are underage, but nobody ever uses that to say anything. It's just Neswapo pull the crowd. A lot of those kids are coming to listen to Gaza. Let's be very clear.
And
they're not registered. And the free food, they're not registered. And then also the other question also is how many of those people also in that crowd are not there but will essentially go vote somebody else?
Yeah.
That we also
Maria,
don't know.
I saw a video
Yes,
last
where
night.
they were wearing shirts. Yes. There's this video of two kids wearing this vote huggy, and they had gone to Enana. It was the Enana one because that was packed. I think that was the largest crowd they ever pulled. I mean, for this campaign, on this campaign trail. And these kids went to Enana and they did a video afterwards. They were speaking of Shivambo Prida, but I'll explain what they were saying. They were just like, we're wearing this vote huggy, but we're going to vote Dr. Itula. Come on the 27th. This is just for show. This is just for food.
But Maria, that looked like the Star Rally in Karatura.
What?
That video, maybe we're talking of two different videos.
Okay, the one I'm talking about is right after Enana. The kids, because they even said they're coming from the Enana. Yeah.
I think I also seen the one from Inanna. I haven't seen the one
No,
from
there's
Karatura.
one I saw last night. I think that was taken here at the Star Rally here, where two girls shouting, Dr. Itula, but they had Hagekainko t-shirts on.
T-shirts on.
But the surface, on the field looked like it was at Semnioma Stadium, and but you could see them, looking around before they are doing what they were doing.
Yeah, who can
So,
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it could go. And also, I've also spoken to a girl. I found a girl the last weekend, not this weekend, the last weekend, Saturday. She was wearing a vote huggy. And I saw her and I thought, let me start a conversation with her. So I was like, why vote huggy? So, I'm trying to just have conversation. And she was like, who says I'm voting for huggy? Yeah, I'm voting for Dr. Itula. I'm just doing this because I don't want problems. So, yeah. And it got me questioning how many people are in that space. Because end of the day, your vote is your secret. When you go in there, it's you and your Lord. And ECN. And So, like, it does make me question, but yeah, that's why I'm saying it's not a fair assessment to keep asking if everybody's a registered, because it could swing any other way as well, and also just the same thing could be asked about SWAPO. How many people that are at the rallies are registered or even of an age to vote?
Eligible.
Yeah.
Patrick Prince Kapembe, guys, ICT, what? Name and ICT. Guys will still be paid out by the big guys. Those guys are capable of doing anything just to keep themselves in power. They have all the money, Is that lol? Okay, that's lol. So the better solution is to go for ballot papers. And Andy Dollar Chevy, Maria, you are right, my sister. Why are they scared of the Berots if they are playing free and fair elections?
Right? I don't know if fear is the right word, but
Rochelle Klassen, ECN said they made a case at the police, but this was not true. ECN said SWAPO paid the machines or paid for the machines to the ministry. That was also not true. Why must we trust them moving forward? Just something to think about. You have a point. Madala Shikwambi, who was that comrade that collapsed Saturday at SWAPO Star rally at Semnyoma, guys? I don't know.
Did somebody collapse?
Yeah, I heard the story yesterday. But
it was also hot, guys. Sun is
it was warm. Boyki Dishena. Right? Elections should be postponed until the saga is resolved. What if the saga is not resolved? Anyway, from the look of things, there is something fishy here. Have you even noticed the way Muyoro answers questions? He's clearly up to something. I'm not going to get into that again.
Yeah, shut up, you.
I'm going to shut up my mouth. What is this? Okay, let's just say Kandingwa. Because that name, I have no idea what this is. That's supposed to be. I'm angry, disappointed, I'm sad, and feel very, very, very sorry for the future of Mother Namibia. Lack of leadership and corrupted administration of our government. People wake up for the sake of our country. And mostly, disappointing that the president is just quiet in this situation, preaching about the long arm of justice. If he really was on the front head of the issue, I don't think these SAOs and his counterparts could have still been free people. Yes.
Institutions, he always preaches that, but it's not. He's a president, yes, but at the end of the day, there are independent bodies that are supposed to do that without his involvement.
Yeah.
So,
question, guys.
Kama, good morning, guys. Do you really think the former minister was arrested?
on the pictures, we don't have any reason to.
Who's that?
That was Pastor David Balombeleni Kambulu.
David, show us the pictures. We have no opinion on that.
I want to see handcuffs. You guys are let's don't like a stout, man. Guys, we have passed the 9 o'clock mark.
Just a question, guys. The independent candidate could not use the SWAPO colors because he is an independent candidate. Now, it is obviously the first time in my lifetime that I do see a political candidate use the Namibian flag and the Namibian flag colors obviously so freely. Now, I just sort of feel that, for the non-Itula supporters who sees the Namibian flag, who sees the Namibian flag attire that people wear on a daily basis now, that it just seems like it's becoming a bad connotation towards the flag.
Why?
I disagree.
No. The reason I'm saying that is, and I'm talking about non-Itula supporters. Because the thing is, let me say, if I walk down the street with my SWAPO attire, and I see somebody coming down here with a Namibian flag, and a Namibian flag attire, which is not supporting the party president, but the independent candidate. Because of that, now you look at, because this is our flag. This is our national symbol. Now, for me, it's the first time in our history that somebody, a Namibian, looks at that flag and say, I'm opposing what you stand for.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I'll go on record and even say it. I'm not an Etola supporter.
Yeah.
So I'm answering from that.
Yeah.
And the reason I say I disagree is, for the longest time, prior to even Etola coming into the ring, I've said it so many times. I said I hate that we put party flags above that of our
politics first.
Party politics before that of our nation.
Yeah.
You will see, like, even if you go to the north, on the car, what is this dashboard?
Yeah.
It's the party. They raise the party. And I would always compare it to the States. And I say, the Americans, they are all about their American flag.
You're actually not allowed to campaign with party colors in the States.
Exactly. They are about, in front of houses, it's the American flag. Whenever they are all about make America great again. Everything is about their, it's their American nation. It's the flag. And I always said, it's a pity that we are divided. We forget we should be Namibian first and SWAPO second, or LPM or whatever other party second. That should be secondary. But in Namibia, it's a reverse.
Yeah.
You are SWAPO first and then a Namibian. You are LPM first and then a Namibian. You are PDM first and then a Namibian. I've always had an issue with that model. And I always said, why don't we? And we know parties have brought a lot of conflict and problems, even within communities where, no, I don't want to see your RDP flag. It's too close to my window, fighting, or every time I drive here, I have to see your RDP. It's caused so much conflict and tension. And I said, what if we all just first started celebrating our flag?
True.
Because that is the thing that unites all of us, irrespective of who you're going to vote for, what party you associate with. So I like that there's actually a candidate that is with the Namibian flag, because that should be the most important thing. And why would anybody then take offense with it? Because the person that's raising that flag is Namibian themselves. You don't have more power over that flag than the next person. If we're all born in this country, everybody has a right to that flag. You can't take offense because you don't agree with somebody's policies.
I mean, if we head down that line, it becomes a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Slippery slope.
Because then I have an issue with you and your flag. You have an issue with her and her flag, and then it can cause chaos. So I mean, I'm with Mary on this one. If he wants to campaign with the Namibian flag, good for him.
No. I'm saying I'm not opposed to that. Okay, I'm not opposed to that. My issue is just I'm thinking again from a political perspective, how people. Because people don't see the things the way that we see things. I'm talking about people down there, okay, who and I can see the fierce combating way that people go about their business in terms of who they support. I'm just saying this. Just my fear is just that people would start thinking that this is way beyond being a Namibian flag. You supporting somebody that I don't support. That's just all I'm saying. I don't see it that way. It's just that what with some of the pictures that I've seen, over the weekend, how people might perceive it. That's just all I'm saying. But I have no problem with it. It's just that how somebody else can see it.
In closing, I just wanted to say, if you're going to have a problem with somebody's policies because they're raising a flag and you can't identify, then you have to recheck your Namibianization and your affiliation to this country, because we don't all have to have the same mindset or agree on policies or whatever. It's what makes us Namibian, and we're colorful in that sense. So it's okay. It's respecting that the next person's allowed to have a different opinion to yours, and not see that as now you should disassociate with the flag of your country. Come on, don't be silly.
I mean, I've also had those heated discussions, especially with taxi drivers, or in a cab in general, because it's mixed crowds most of the time. And I mean, sometimes I would get involved, sometimes not. But the conversation, especially of the issue between Itula and the party, it comes up
9:10
almost every time. Well, my point is, right, like, I mean, if you're supporting the ruling party and you have an issue with it, like the people who ran to Itula obviously ran to Itula for some reason. So bashing him is not going to change somebody's mind.
That's true.
Yeah, like, then explain to me the policies of your party that should make me want to vote for your party instead of trying to bash the other candidate because, like they say, an eye for an eye leaves the whole country blind. I have unconfirmed news here from Thomas Kalapuse Hausiku saying Comrade Nangolo Mbumba was the one who collapsed at the Semnyoma Stadium on Saturday.
Okay.
When you guys say collapsed, do you mean he fell and stood up or collapsed as in...
I don't know.
Ambulance, ek weet nie. I don't know. It's the first time I'm hearing of it.
Yeah, it was also... Okay. It's also the first time.
Not easy being a vice president.
Patriotism should be with the country first before everything else. Problem is that people have loyalty towards individuals, even when they don't necessarily agree with what they stand for. Cause of the belly politics.
Yeah.
Politics of the belly was Latuka Elamoto back in the day. I like how she reasons. That's from Konja. Why? Thank you on behalf of Maria. Okay, guys, let's get out of here.
Yeah. Have a good Monday.
Have a good Monday.
Ek het werk, jong.
Keep checking out Informanté's Facebook page, guys. We're going to keep you updated with all the major stories going on around the country. We'll be back, of course, tomorrow morning. Don't forget, Wednesday is time to go. No, we are not sure yet. Weekday morning from 6 to 9, Monday to Friday.